My name is Zach McKinnis. I'm from Hutchinson, Kansas.
What is your passion?
Ultimately, my passion is real estate. Um, I love to take something that is decrepit, run down, and turn it into a beautiful product.
How did you get into your passion?
How I got into my passion, um, my Uncle Rob ultimately is and always has been my mentor. Um, so ever since an early age, I knew that real estate was exactly what I wanted to invest in. Ever since I can really remember, I've been instilled with the knowledge to make real estate something successful and something that I want to invest in.
You want to leave a legacy. You want to talk about,
Yeah.
you coming down
Okay.
here working on houses your whole life. We always did improvements.
I would say ultimately I got into real estate because of my uncle. I can remember as far back as when I first started to walk. Um, we would visit his project houses, um, and do simple projects. Just things to make the area look a lot better. But ever since that point, I knew that the aesthetics of real estate is something that I really admired. Um, Taking something and turning it from rundown and decrepit into something that was aesthetically beautiful was something I always admired about my uncle. Another reason I got into real estate ultimately is because of the lifestyle that it can provide. Um, I love my freedom. I don't like anybody telling me what to do. And I knew that real estate was that avenue that I could take to achieve that goal.
So tell me about your portfolio of real estate.
Currently, right now, I have 12 income producing properties. Um, my first one I bought when I was 23 years old. It was a triplex, and I did what is called house hacking. It's where I move into one unit um, and renovate that while I'm staying there, while I'm renting out the other two units. This worked out really well for me. I cash flowed at that time about $100 a month, um, which was plenty for me. I mean, I had no mortgage to pay out of pocket. I had no bills to pay out of pocket. So in return, that gave me an opportunity to save my money and ultimately purchase my next property.
Which was what?
My next property that I purchased was a single family home that I actually put a bid in on and won that. This property I purchased for 22,000. I owned it completely outright, and my next step, basically on this property, what I was focusing on is the equity that this property was holding. Um, so my next step with that property was to approach a banker and establish a relationship. Um, in doing so, I had the property appraised and actually gained $50,000 worth of equity in that property, which enabled me to purchase other properties after that. Um, I purchased shortly after a duplex that I have currently rented out for $850 a month. Um, on that property, I cash flow, would say about $350. Um, and then that also led me to purchase a sixplex, which is actually my first commercial property, which puts me at 12 units.
And how old are you in this year of 2015?
I am 25 years old.
And what is your annual income from earned income?
My annual earned income, I gross 40,000.
So, and that was just with a recent raise, right? So you were
Correct.
able to buy all these homes with minimal down. They're
Exactly.
small homes. So you're not buying $100,000 houses or $150,000 houses. You're buying $20,000,
20,
$30,000
30.
houses. And then,
Mhm.
wow. All right. So 25 and 12 units. Why are you such an overachiever, you asshole?
I mean, honestly, I think from a very early age, to be successful, it's always been in my blood. I come from a family of business owners, I'm very business minded, but also, real estate was the only thing that really attracted me at an early age, and so I knew that would also make me a lot of money someday. So I just went with that.
Tell me a little bit about your mentor.
Let's see. My mentor ultimately is my Uncle Rob. Um, Ever since I can remember, I've always looked up to him. Anytime that I came down to Oklahoma, he was the one person that I wanted to spend all my time with. I think really the reason why I was just so fond of him, not only did we have fun all the time, and I love him to death, but the lessons that I got to learn and the things that he instilled in me at an early age, ultimately I knew were going to help me in the long run. So I always believe in the saying, surround yourself with like-minded people, um, and then ultimately you will become like those people yourself. So I knew that I wanted to spend my time with my Uncle Rob. I saw what he was doing at an early age and wanted to do that for myself. Um, my Uncle Rob is basically the smartest person that I know, as well as the most successful, and his mentality is something that I also share. I think ultimately it's important to stay humble, and that's something my Uncle Rob has always projected. Um, his attitude towards life is something that a lot of people really don't have. Um, it's because he's created a lifestyle for himself that he's always wanted. Um, you've got people that surround you every single day that go to work, come home, live the same exact routine, and they're miserable. And through real estate, thank you to my Uncle Rob, um, I've got the education now that I can avoid that lifestyle.
You made a recent purchase where you actually didn't talk to your Uncle Rob for a couple of months there because you were worried about something. Can you tell us about that consumer purchase that you made?
Yeah. um, I actually just purchased a year ago a 2008 Cadillac CTS, which I was absolutely in love with. Um, at the time, it was an emotional decision. I just left a relationship, felt like I had money coming in, so what's a guy got to do? He's got to get a Cadillac. So that was probably the worst financial decision I've ever made in my life. Um, to this day, I actually pray someone pulls out in front of me and totals my car. That way I can purchase a truck that actually helps me out with my rentals.
What is your 1 year goal?
My 1 year goal, um, I'm holding my units for the time being, but my plans are to move down to Oklahoma City to be closer to my mentor. I just feel like at this point in my life, I've got the education, I've got the basics down, but I need to further that. I need to really hone in on my system, um, and so within 6 months, I plan on moving to Oklahoma City. Um, Basically, just getting closer with my mentor, my Uncle Rob, and from there, I would like to invest into a multifamily home, specifically a duplex. That's basically my kind of property. I'm absolutely in love with multifamily homes, just because they generate so much income with one property. You could have one property, a single family home that you get a vacancy on and you have no income. You still have property tax, you still have a house payment. Um, but with a duplex or a triplex or fourplex, if you want to keep it residential, um, you've got multiple streams of income coming in at the same time. So vacancies aren't necessarily a big worry of mine. So,
Which is completely opposite of what your Uncle Rob does. He's
right,
not much into the
right,
units.
right.
He's got some, but he prefers the single family 2 bed 1 bath.
Right.
So if you're following his model, you're not really following his model. You're just following his mindset on real
Exactly.
estate development.
I would have to say, I definitely don't follow my uncle's business model, but he's also been in a different market than me for his entire life. In central Kansas, multifamily units are definitely the way to go. Um, Single family homes, not necessarily in as high demand as, let's say, small multifamily units or apartment buildings.
What would you say your 5 year goal is?
At this point, my 5 year goal um, would be to hold my units that I have in Kansas. And I'm not necessarily big on trying to manage units from afar. To me, that creates a lot of stress, a lot of worry on my end. I'm very lucky to have the friends and family that I do, um, and that's going to enable me to make the move down to Oklahoma City for the time being. Um, but as far as 5 years go, I would have to say that I will definitely get rid of my units after 5 years. So, 5 year long term goal, I would have to say that I see myself in Oklahoma City, um, and developing a better system, um, and really honing in on my next investments here in Oklahoma City. Um, I'm not necessarily sure if I want to stay with multifamily homes because this is a different market. Single family, 2 bedroom, 1 bath is what seems to be in high demand here. Um, I would say in 5 years, I definitely see myself with at least 10 units, um, and that being single family homes here in Oklahoma City.
So by the time you're 35, you will really have been whipping your Uncle Rob's ass by the time he was 35.
Exactly.
We've talked about the psychological and emotional issues that come with success,
Mm-hmm.
which is not a question that you have seen, but it's also a very important topic, I think, that people have to understand. And it seems to be more of our conversations that you and I have had
Definitely.
on what happens to your friends, what happens to your family. I mean, talk a little bit about that.
You know, I've noticed quite a bit, especially lately, which a lot of my conversations lately with my Uncle Rob have been about the animosity and the jealousy that comes along with becoming successful, um, and basically, in a sense, leaving the herd. Um, I've received a lot of jealousy, not only from my family, um, but also with close friends. It's kind of just the risk that you take when you want to become successful, and when you're doing something that other people are afraid to do, but they want to do it themselves.
Well, I mean, you've lost friendships over it,
Yeah, yeah,
because people are jealous over
right,
what you have done.
exactly,
Most people don't know what they're going to do tomorrow.
right,
You know what you're going to do a year from now. You know what you're going to do 5 years, 10 years.
right.
Hopefully, you're retired by the age of 35.
Mm-hmm.
But that seems to be one of the number one conversations that we've had. Is like, why does everybody hate me all of a sudden?
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me about the emotional, psychological aspects of success.
Um, on the emotional aspects, when you leave the herd and you try to do something with yourself and become successful, and that's what you live, that's what you breathe. Um, you're going to receive a lot of jealousy and animosity. A lot of my conversations with my Uncle Rob lately, especially, have been on that topic. Um, you never expect people to become jealous of you because you're, making yourself better. and also, providing a place for people to live. I mean, basically everything that I do, in a sense, is good for the community and good for myself. But um, in return, I've received a lot of jealousy from friends and family. But that's part of it. That's the risk that you have to take.
About that. So, is there anything else that you would like to add for people who read the book, who see the website, who do everything? What advice, as a young real estate professional like yourself, would you give to other young real estate professionals that want to follow down the same path that you currently are leading?
Um, the first piece of advice that I would give, and given that you haven't uh, invested yet, is just take that first step. Um, you're gonna be very nervous. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of money, um, but not necessarily down. It depends on what path you want to take on your financial side. But um, I would just say that taking that first step, just do something. You just have to do something, and I promise you that you will create the lifestyle that you want.
Zach McInnes, over and out.
Yeah.
Good job, bud.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.